It is a bloody freezing out here, and you'd think he'd leave us a key to the kingdom, wouldn't you? But no, he didn't leave us a key, and I keep getting noticed as well. I'm getting sick of
Kim, your mugger, good morning.
Oh, piss off, mate, honestly.
I've got 2 teas, Ben. Here we go.
Thank you, Ken, thank you. Yes, no. Did you put sugar in it?
Absolutely not, because as you said, you're sweet enough. It's a great honesty. Very original.
Thank you. Yeah, hang on. This is a company mug. Hang on. Oh, where's your coat?
Oh, well, that's in the cloakroom, and these mugs are in the kitchen.
The reason we're stood out here for 40 minutes is because we don't have a key. Do you have a key?
Yes, all employees are given company cards to...
40 minutes, Ken. 40 minutes. I can't even move my hand. It's so cold.
I want to leave you out. I want to leave him outside.
Well, I'm gonna. I'm going inside. It's that way, apparently. Flipping.
There's one thing that can be said for this season: fundraising's through the roof. So, thank you everybody. Thank you everyone for chipping in. Problem is, so is players' wages. That's doubled already. It's only February. Oh, God. Now, since we last met viewers, we've missed a whole month. January has been and gone, and we are into February, and it should be, in theory, quite a fun episode today. Horsham and Carshalton. Why is that so difficult for me? Carshalton. Got it. So we last met in our back-to-back wins against Three Bridges and Herne Bay. We then, well, things got a little bit worse. 2-1 win, 2-1 win, 2-1 win, 2-1 defeat, 2-1 defeat. Hythe and Guernsey beat us. Then I picked up again, Whiteleaf, got a 1-0 and a 2-1 versus VCD. Then a disappointing 1-0 defeat to Redhill, who we know are a decent side in this division. 0-0 with Hastings, and a very good 3-1 win against Faversham. Stephen Wright in the team again and getting himself some goals on the score sheet. Faversham, one of the better sides of the division, but couldn't quite best us on this occasion, and that's what we want to see. You can see there then. We sit in 7th position, quite a way off the playoffs, and that is a concern with not many games to go. Say not many games to go, 14 games to go, Ben, come on, give yourself some credit. So with 14 games to go, we are 7 points behind the playoffs. But you can see so far, the progression from last season is very good. Currently on 54 points. Let's compare that to last season. So 54 this year, last year, we got 54 points. So with 14 games to go, whatever we get now is looking pretty good. 5th position is the target, and you can see there, Thames, we've got 85 points to get into the playoffs, which means we've got to do pretty well to get in there ourselves. A lot to do. I don't know if it's going to be possible. It suggests we have to win 10 games. So, well, look, next year. Let's focus on next year. Team-wise, in terms of fitness and things like that, we're looking pretty good. No concerns, but you can see there, and it's quite obvious that I have a very settled starting 11 that plays every game, and the players that have to come in and replace them, one, aren't particularly good, and two, aren't very fit. So it is a bit of a concern. We do tend to stick with the same team week in, week out, but recent form has been not too bad, so I can't really complain. Anyway, today, Horsham and Carshalton, which we've learnt today. Horsham are down in 12th position and Carshalton are up in 5th position, so beating them, almost maximum importance. The first game, though, is against Horsham, and it's tomorrow, which is good planning by me. Right then, the team is becoming quite consistent. I think our central midfield area is a problem, apart from O'Sullivan, who's very, very good. But Edwards and Bye in there with Barker, it's a bit hit and miss. It's a funny old game. Emery will be in goal then. Campbell, Comfy, Johnson and McAteer. We've got O'Sullivan in front of them. Edwards and Bye. Barker, Wright, Taylor. Look, if Joe Bye keeps performing above expectation, we should be fine. He's our top performer so far based on average rating. A 7.17, 12 goals. Dominic Taylor with 18 has done a pretty good job so far, and hopefully that continues today. Taylor needs to be in the goals. We've switched up his position from advanced forward to poacher as well, and he seems to be doing just as well in there. He had a little dry spell, so we flicked it around. They've got a lot of faces, Horsham. They've got a lot of real people. He's very colour coordinated with the team. I mean, Callum Dunn is doing a fine job in there. Lovely. Right then, kick things off. How will we do? And because we're away at Horsham, we can see the match stats and we can see the league table. What a treat. Now, form is much better than last year. As you see, we've already reached the points tally of last year. It's whether we can go on further than that and push for those playoffs. There's a great ball to Taylor, who's in on goal straight away, saved by Boll, and goes behind for a corner, which I imagine will get a goal from. No, it'll... I mean, well, look, this is the evidence, and there it is. There is there. We've sat through that. I'm sorry we had to endure that there. The important thing in games like this is you stay in it for a long time, especially away from home, and then you try and pick them apart. Wright's got a free kick that he plays in. Joe Bye. Barker. Oh, Barker scored! Joe Bye with another assist, obviously. But Barker's got another one. He scored last episode, I think, right? And he scored again today. Well, he's a man in the goals. We'll look at it in 3 dimensions. Ball's whipped in. And it's a Joe by header down to Barker, whose left-footed poke or prod finds the back of the net. 1-0 Thames. Well, if he starts scoring, then, well, we've got a player on our hands. He's got a lot of appearances for Thames, not a lot of goals. Another chance, maybe Campbell up on this right side, into Barker, who's now, look at him, he's the confidence of a man who scored a goal. Right plays it back to Campbell, who finds Taylor in acres of space. Oh, well, the keeper comes out, does pretty well, actually, to be fair. You don't see that very often in this division. Now, although it was our chance to begin with, Brown has been set free and Horsham with a chance to get back in this. It's into the middle. Emery with a great save. Thank you, Michael. Very good job, my friend. Very good job. Michael doing excellently from close range. So at half-time, 1-0 Thames in this game, and that's not too bad. Half-time team sort of passionately say you've played well so far, but there's still room for improvement. They like that. Everyone's playing relatively well. Dominic Taylor, the only one struggling a little bit on a 6.4, but so far so good. Occasionally I do bring Leon Smith on for sort of the last 20 minutes, but the problem with that is that he doesn't really gain any fitness in the last 20 minutes, so he sort of stays in this endless cycle of not being fit enough. Lee goes through a similar transition, but recently Wright's been playing well, so you'd be foolish to take him off. This might be a Leon Smith kind of day as Alban Jones puts the ball to the back post. Humphrey strikes it in the back of the net. He's pretty unmarked there, and an easy finish. I think we will make the switch. We're going to bring on Leon Smith for Taylor, who's on a 6.3, not playing particularly well, and we'll put him out there as he advances forward as well. Why not? Can there be a final goal in the game, and hopefully in our direction? Oh, for God's sake, oh my heavens above. This is some sort of sick joke, is it? Some sort of sick joke. Well, who am I going to put up front now? I don't have any options. Literally not another striker. Oh, can I bring Dominic Taylor back on? What do you do now? I think we'll put... Barker's got the goal, so we'll put him up there, I guess. And Lee maybe on the... Actually, no, we'll put Wright up there. Wright's probably one of our better players generally, so we'll play him as the forward. We don't have many options. Bye-bye. No, sorry, free kick by Joe by. It's not the best. It's headed clear, and maybe a chance for them to break. The ball out wide is... Well, it leaves them wanting a little bit, but he drives forward with it. As long as we stop this and break, we might have a chance. But if they continue forward in this fashion, this controlled fashion, that's not so good. They could pick us apart. As the ball's played forward, Campbell, I want to have a little cry. Not as much as the guy that missed that, though. That should have been a goal. 72 minutes gone. It's Horsham 1, Thames 1. Will there be a bit of late drama? Let's encourage them. Come on, final 13 minutes. We're away from home. This game's not over yet. Emery with a goal kick. Launches it up towards Barker. If he can get on it, he doesn't quite, and the ball's played forward, and suddenly they're in again. The guy that missed the chance with a chance to redeem himself, but that goes over the bar. Oh, very stressful at the moment, viewers. I'm not enjoying this particularly. And there's not long left to go. Away. Oh, hello. Chance, perhaps. McAteer over to Lee. That we received very little. I'm calling bye-bye because he's called Lee. That's the problem we've got ourselves now. As the ball's played forward again, and Monelli is racing forward. Ball played across. Campbell, though, forward up towards Wright, who's in on goal. He's our auxiliary striker. Oh, heavens. The lower leagues, viewers, the lower leagues. I mean, there's 6 minutes of added time. The ball's played for... Come on now. There's 3 seconds to go, ref. Just blow up. There we go. Lovely. Final whistle. Horsham 1, Thames 1. Leon Smith with an injury. Not ideal. I guess we'll deal with that in a minute. But an okay away point. I'm going to say I'm not happy with the performance, though. I'm going to let them think I'm not happy with that. Carshalton coming up. It could just be Carshalton. Carshalton? Maybe. Carshalton. Could be. Carshalton. Well, it'll be one of these, 100%. Right, a week before our next game, I'll see you for... Actually, we'll just check in on that Leon Smith injury. I saw your advice to get a striker in, Ben, who's got a good finish in. I tried, and none of them actually wanted to come, and we couldn't afford any of the other ones, so... Well done, Thames. Smith is out for 6 weeks to 2 months with a twisted ankle. Not ideal. Our only other real striking option. Actually, no. A sale of this. Ed Grogan's waiting in the wings. This could be his moment. Right, folks. Welcome back. Second game of the episode. I mean, you've been expecting this. I know. And there's the question mark is whether I'm going to put Taylor back onto advance forward. I think ordinarily I probably would. So, yes, I am going to. Mentality-wise, we're at home and it's a decent side. Whether we stay defensive or not is another question. We could go to the counter-attack. We could just stick defensive for the first half, maybe, and see how we stand. Let's do that. Let's stay defensive first half, temp-symmetric, let's see how we do. I do wonder if this tactic would work in higher divisions. I think personnel is pretty important. Okay, we've got to read the flipping league table and the match stats. Cover the flipping goals. Okay, so far, if you've paid a ticket to see this, goodness gracious, there's been far more fouls than there are shots. Carshalton, corner to them, I mean, the highlight finally arrives, and, wow, that was a wicked effort, but over the bar. So far, a very even game, very sort of back and forth. It's a gusty conditions, maybe that's playing a part. The wind is such a factor right now. We're not playing particularly well. I'm gonna give them hell at half-time. Not as a gift, I mean, you know what I meant. I'm going to get aggressive. I'm going to say, look, I'm not happy with the performance out there. No one's playing very well. Now, we've had mixed emotions, but I don't really care. I let my assistant sort of, well, he thinks I've done well. We talked about it. Do we want to go slightly more offensive? I'm going to go standard, actually. I'm going to go bolder than I thought I would. We're coming off defensive. We're going to be a little bit more open, maybe to them scoring equally. We'll hopefully push forward a little more. So right now, we're quite sensibly set. I want us to express ourselves a little more. Problem is that going to make us open to conceding a goal, as there's a chance here for them. Miller puts it in. Oh, that's a big effort. Bradford puts it wide. I'm going to tell them to get creative as well. Hopefully someone out there will do something magical, because so far we've not seen anything clear cut, and I'd like to, really. Time is ticking away here. This is part of the issue with our bench, is that we don't have too many players to bring on that give us great options off the bench. We don't have many players that can change the game. In fact, I arguably don't have any players that really can change the game. The system remains very similar. There's an interception, not quite. Johnson intercepts, sort of, but it's sluggish. And Dawkins now, and I am panicked. Chance, maybe McAteer. Great challenge from him. Goodness me. Barker, forward to Taylor. Could this be a counter-attack in the offing? Potentially so. Right, plays a beautiful ball over to Barker, who's racing on a goal. Barker, it was so exciting until that moment there. Another throw in for them, and all of a sudden the game is coming alive. Highlights back and forth as Jelly on this right-hand side. Can he get a ball into the middle? There's a man open at the back. If he can find him, he does, and he hits the side netting. Well, finally, final 10 minutes, and both teams are deciding, look, there's a game to be won here. Shall we go for it? Taverner's going to come on for Edwards in the centre. We're going to make a little change, freshen up things in the middle, but that is going to be it. Now, will there be a late twist? A late Thames goal here would be massive, but it doesn't look as if it's going to happen. 3 minutes to go. Grogan's going to come on. We're going to make a last-ditch effort to win this game. Grogan's going to come on. Defensive forward on support. Will there be the last 2 minutes? Will there be a bit of action? No, there won't. It's a 0-0. 2 draws back-to-back. It's disappointing. It's a disappointing start to the week, really, viewers, but that is going to have to do us. Assertively say, unlucky, wasn't our day. I'm not going to lambast them too much. Again, the side we've just played there are above us in the league. Canterbury coming up as well. That should be a tough one. Not the most exciting of games, but we're realising where we stand, and I think that is equally important. Where we are right now is probably about right, which shows good progression from last year, and I think that's also important. But 4 points dropped today. Not ideal. And that is going to bring an end to today's episode then. 8th position is where we stand. 9 points off 5th position. Canterbury is actually the team we play next, ironically, but we'll see how we do against them. Next time we meet, I think it should be maybe something like South Park versus the Corinthian Casuals. I think Corinthian Casuals are going to get a beating, so we'll try and make it around then, and I'll see you again soon. 4 games unbeaten, but not particularly good results. A couple of 0-0s in there, so we love with care. From until next time, I'll see you again very, very soon. Tomorrow. Goodbye. And thank you to the support on Patreon from Edgar, Nathan and Paul this week. I really appreciate you guys getting involved and supporting the channel. If you want to get involved, you can do. You can sponsor players and things like that once we become professional. Links in the description are available to you. Goodbye.